Hey there everyone, how you doing? My name is Tavarish and this is my Lamborghini Gallardo Spider that I am working on, and hopefully it's going to get done pretty soon. Now this is going to be a quick update video. It's not going to be a regularly produced video that you see on my channel, just because I'm working on a few other videos right now and I wanted to give you guys a sneak peek. So here's what I've been working on. So the two major components that I've been working on are the front lift system that doesn't work and also the top that doesn't work. Now that was the case for, well, the entire time I've had the car, but I've had a little bit of luck with the entire, these two very complicated systems. Right here, there used to be a hydraulic ram, and I actually took that hydraulic ram out, and for some reason it's on the floor. So this hydraulic ram is supposed to go right here, and I disconnected it from the hydraulic lines because I wasn't able to move it, and then when I disconnected it, I moved it, but I ended up squirting hydraulic fluid directly into my face and also all over the car. You can probably see, yeah, that's not really good. But this hydraulic ram does work. I will be putting it back. I will be installing everything and making sure the system runs. Now, I don't know if this hydraulic line here, I'm not sure if that is very good, because right here you can see the fire. It actually warped the plastic surrounding it, so maybe I'll just strip off this plastic and see if the stainless steel line underneath is actually any good. Also, I've noticed that the car burns a little bit of oil when it's hot outside. When I turn it on, there's a little bit of a little puff of blue smoke. That's actually normal for these cars. If you start them up and you see a little bit of blue smoke, that's okay. But when I rev it up, it is, it's not a smoke show, but there is some smoke coming out, especially if it's hot, and it does get hot in Florida. Now, I have been told by some Turbo Lambo guys that this is actually a symptom of the oil being too thin. I did put in some 5W40, which the engine does call for, but as I've said before, nothing on this car is stock. This engine is built, it has rods, pistons, sleeves, and I have no idea what the tolerances are. So the Turbo Lambo guys that I've talked to, Peter Bjork and also another person on Instagram, they've said to me that they use anywhere between 15W50 and 20W60 oil, which is a lot heavier weight than what I'm using. I'm using 540. So I ordered a case of 20W60. Actually, I'm going to show you that right now. So I ordered a case of this 20W60 Motul 300V, and it's pretty cool here. So they come in these little 2-liter metal containers, and this is really high quality stuff, guys. It's actually quite expensive, but it is Le Mans oil. This is meant for race cars, so this should fit the bill. I believe that this is going to get rid of our oil burning problem. If not, then we'll have to look in other places. But this is going to be good for the car. Now, those of you who may have had some oil burning issues with your cars, you'll probably tell me that there might be an issue with the Pcv system. There actually is no Pcv system on this car. You see this right here? That is a breather pipe, and that goes from the oil tank. And since this is a dry sup engine, it's a little bit different because it doesn't actually doesn't actually use vacuum to take out the condensation from the oil system. It could be blow by, it could definitely be the piston rings, but I doubt that that's the problem, because I've seen video of this car after it was built on the dyno and running around, and also when I first got the car, it wasn't smoking like it was. So I'm thinking it just is the oil is too thin. So I'm gonna try to fix that. I will have a video out for you guys on that, but I'm very excited to announce that I got a package, and it came all the way from Europe, actually from Poland, and this is a LP570 style bumper. Now, it's not OEM, but it has OEM fitment, and it is actually fiberglass, but it's a good kind of fiberglass. It has a decent amount of flex. It's not going to crack as soon as I put it on and give it some, have to tighten it down or anything. But it looks like it's in pretty decent shape. Obviously, there are a few nicks and scratches here just because it came from the other side of the world, but I'm going to have to get this painted in any case. That is going to look really good. Hopefully I can do it, hopefully I can put this on without putting too many modifications to it, but I'm thinking that this is going to be a problem. This my baller pipe here. See, the baller pipe comes out a little bit too much, so I might have to trim out the bumper, and that's that's going to be the end of that. Now, the front lift system is another animal altogether. If you come inside here, you'll see that I've been messing around with the wiring, and the front lift actually has to be wired into the ECU. Now, the previous owner did tell me that the front lift worked, but I think he's misremembering it, because when I looked at the ECU and I looked at the wiring diagram that I need to do, plug in to the ECU for the front lift to work, none of the wires were there. It just, the pins weren't there. So I had to basically re-engineer everything. I had to find the actual really small pins that go into this connector. And I had to order them. I had to order some new 20 gauge wire. And then I'm going to run that into the what's called the GFA, and that's like the body control module in this car. So there's a GFA patch harness. It goes from there to there, and that's all I have to do to get the front lift to work. I also have to send out the calibration file for the ECU to Cyvex so they can enable that functionality, because I need to have this button, that's the front lift button, I need to have that work. Otherwise, this car can't get on the dyno. And the dyno is something I'm really looking forward to, because I've been talking to Garrett, Mr. Cletus McFarland, Mr. Hell Yeah Brother. So we want to get this car on the dyno this week. I'm going to really try for this week. But it's just been, this car has been fighting me the entire way because it has that oil burning issue. Whenever you burn oil from the exhaust and it's getting into the combustion chamber, then that could wreak havoc for the tune. It could throw off the air fuel ratios, and I definitely don't want that on a car this high strung. Also, I don't know how I can get this on a trailer. I believe that this can fit on a U-Haul trailer if I have the front lift working, and if I take off the front bumper, that should be okay. So I should be able to do that if I get the front lift working, probably in the next day or two. But that, of course, is a big if. Now, the top is something I have to address as well, because the top it has a ton of micro switches, has a ton of little switches. Now, when I showed you guys last time, when I did an update, I told you that there was a little harness there that I didn't know where it plugged into. Well, I actually did find out. The harness just went into this, well, there's a harness, half harness here that it plugged into. So I figured that out. Everything is as it should be. I also replaced this harness. If you guys have seen my last videos, you'll notice that this is not burnt anymore. I just got a new connector, new 4-prong connector, and this is the harness for this hydraulic ram. There's actually 2 magnetic inputs or outputs here, and that tells the computer how extended this is. So hopefully that's all going to work. I believe that this system needs to be reset. I do need to take it to the dealer to have them reset it because this is actually a really common problem with these cars, that if you take off the battery when the system is halfway up or halfway down, then that's going to mean that the system is very confused and it doesn't know where it stopped or where it started. So it has to be reset by the dealer. Hopefully the dealer can work on something like this. Another thing I ordered was right here. If you can see, this is a specific bolt and washer setup, and that is integral to the pivoting and operation of this top. But if we look around to this side, you'll see that it's just a regular bolt and kind of haphazardly put there with a washer, and this is definitely not what we need. So I ordered a brand new one. I ordered a Lamborghini part, and the bolt and washer and nut, something that takes up maybe this much room altogether, that cost me around $120. So yeah, these parts are quite expensive just because they are proprietary parts for this car. So it's what the car needs. I just want to make sure that everything is taken care of and all my T's are crossed and my I's are dotted. Another thing I was working on was the flex fuel sensor. Now the flex fuel sensor is right here, and the flex fuel sensor isn't registering. So for some reason, I can't get the ECU to recognize it. So I've had a new flex fuel sensor. I bought a new one, and I also bought a new pigtail because who knows, this pigtail could be broken or something. And I just want to reinstall everything, just make sure that the wiring is correct. And I know that the flex fuel sensor is good. These usually don't go bad all that much, but it was cheap enough. It was like 25 bucks, so it's not that bad. Also, I've noticed that I had a vacuum leak coming from these two ports, one here and one here. So I was wondering where these vacuum lines were coming from, since they come from the side and not from the engine. These actually go into a vacuum chamber, and these control what I think are the stock vacuum actuators for the intake and also stock vacuum actuators for the exhaust. We have deleted all those. Well, I mean, they came deleted from the time I got the car, so these have to just be capped off like this. I will have a more elegant solution if I look down there, but it's just a complete kind of mess. And this is after I cleaned everything up. This is, this Lamborghini doesn't really do wire management and cable management. This is, that's pretty much what you get. It's just being covered up with a bunch of dress-up components, but it should work just as well. And as you can see, I have this gold wrap just on the fuel line, so that should be good to go. Now, everything else is pretty on point. I don't have any leaks. I don't have anything burning off as other than the oil. I have the intercooler pump working very well. The coolant system is working very well. It doesn't overheat, but I just want to make sure that this car isn't burning any oil. It doesn't have any vacuum leaks, but I've had some issue with the vacuum system. I've had some issue with the idle fluctuating, so I think that has to do with the tune. And I'm going to have to get that tuned out by, Cletus McFarland, his tuner, Jeremy. So hopefully we can get that running, and I'm very excited. But this still has a little ways to go, but I think we can get it done relatively shortly because I want to get on to the next project, which is going to be this. So I know you guys can't wait till I get to this, and I have a really, really awesome plan to get this going. But first, I want to make sure we finish this and get a good amount of power on the dyno. So that's it. I know we didn't get anything done today, but I will be getting a lot more stuff done in the coming week, and hopefully we can get this thing at least on a trailer, at least to the point where we can get it on a trailer and then take it to a dyno, because that's going to be a lot of fun. So if you'd like to contact me, you can do so at The Real Tavarish, Instagram and Twitter. Facebook.com/AskTavarish and AskTavarish@gmail.com is my email. Send me some advice that you think that this car might benefit from. So if you'd like to buy one of my shirts, everything goes to charity, then you can do so at the link below. But until next time, this is me telling you that on cars like this that still need a fair amount of work but have come so far in the time we've had them, you guys need to wrench every day. See you guys later.